Good morning. Hello, everybody who's joining us. We're a bit early with our live this week. Welcome in. My name's Brian from McCartney Family Funerals here in Brisbane. Welcome in. Thank you, Tyler. It's a bit warm. I'm still hot. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our live. It is Wednesday, so we're doing our best to make sure that we get back onto our lives every Wednesday. So you're going to be with me till probably about 20 past 11 this morning. So not a super long live, but definitely a live for you to ask some questions. Ari's already kicked us off. G'day, Ari. Whereabouts are you joining us from this morning? I'm going to pin that comment. So Ari's asked, any advice going to mortuary school after graduation? So mortuary school, I'm assuming that you're talking about mortuary school in America or in the United States. So I guess like all, advice that we give to people who are starting their career in the funeral industry is just to go with an open heart, open mind, and the right reason to get into the industry. So come from a place of care, a place of heart, and with all of the compassion that you're there to serve your families with. So no doubt if you've already gone to mortuary school and you're about to graduate, you've got all of that down pat already. So just go in with a big open heart and want the best for your families every time. Great question, thank you. Hello everybody who's joining us from all around the world, it looks like this morning. It's always so cool for us. We get to see people who join us from everywhere, the States, America, Canada, the UK, all through Europe, and of course here in Australia, which is where we are. And our industry is really different. So here in Australia, the funeral industry is really different to that in the United States. So in the United States, it's really regulated, it's heavily regulated, and you need to be a licensed funeral director, you do a tertiary education or a college degree. Whereas here in Australia, it's really unregulated. Our degree is more vocational, so it's less intense. But it's really different. Hi Shannon, in South Wales, 2 a.m. What's keeping you up so late, or are you up really early? Our lives, remember, are all about answering your questions. So if there's anything you'd like to know, if you've got any burning questions about what happens in a funeral home here in Australia, feel free to ask. My name's Brian. I'm a funeral director and the managing director of McCartney Family Funerals. We're based in Brisbane. Thanks for joining us. Shannon, you haven't slept yet, you're about to. Good night, sweet dreams, rest well. And, I was going to say that as I lay me down to sleep prayer, but we won't say that. That's a bit too much. Where else is everybody joining us from, and what questions do you have? I know Tyler has some questions prepared for us this morning as well. We probably have some people to introduce you to. Whether we will get to that this live, I'm not sure. Callie Golina 87, hello. What about body fluids? How gross can that get? Look, I guess when we're talking about bodily fluids, like for sure, like sometimes the bodily fluids that we experience, we encounter, or we have to, look after or deal with, they can be less than perfect, for lack of a better word. Definitely can be pretty gross at times. I think at the end of the day, though, it's about remembering what we're doing and why. So we're there to look after a person who has passed with all the dignity, all the respect, and all the care that they're entitled to. So, for us, we just soldier through, really. We just make sure we look after them just like we would anybody else. And I guess, when it comes to those bodily fluids that are a little less socially acceptable, it's just like caring for a younger person or an older person who might need some help with that stuff. So it's not as bad as you might think, but yeah, it can be confronting. But good question. Thank you for asking that one. We've got some people joining us from North Carolina, so a few in America by the looks of things. You guys are having your own less than socially desirable things happen over there at the moment. We love it when you guys like our screen, so tap that screen as much as you can, but please don't feel like you have to send us gifts. If it costs you money, you shouldn't send it to us. Hey Tammy, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hello Ari, what would you say is the best thing about my job? I think most funeral directors would probably tell you the same thing. The best thing is about looking after families when they need us the most. You know, the families we look after are experiencing the worst moment in their life for most of them. So being able to provide them with all the space, all the care, all the compassion that they need so they can grieve in a healthy way, so that they can form a healthy relationship with death, and that they can be in the moment and be present with the rest of their family for a funeral service. So that's probably what I like the most, is being able to give families that experience so that they can have a really healthy grief experience. Thanks, Ari. That's a great question. Betty, you're right. It has been a long time, but you might have missed us last week. We were back last Wednesday, and Tyler's really cracked the whip. He's made sure that every Wednesday we're going to get back to our lives. He told me that I have to, and I agree with him. We do. We have to keep answering your questions. We've just been really busy lately, and it's been me being more operational than usual. So hopefully you'll tune back in. Ari, that's fantastic. You want to be a funeral director. What makes you want to become a funeral director? I'd love to hear what your driving motivation is. We actually have a person coming in today at 11:30, which is why I'm only doing a shorter live stream today. For a uniform fitting, they're going to be joining us in the next week or two. So we'll be getting a new funeral director, somebody new to industry that will be able to train and let them see how it is that we serve our families. And hopefully, I'm sure they will. They'll be fantastic and a great addition to the team. Tyler, how about we throw out one of your questions there?
Okay, so we had this one coming on TikTok from user. It is, have you ever had to reopen a grave, and why would that even happen?
Yeah, okay. So have we ever had to reopen a grave, and why would that happen? So yeah, sometimes there's a process called exhumation. So if you think about the putting a coffin in the ground is called an interment. And then at the times that we have to bring that coffin back to the surface is called exhumation. So there's a couple of reasons why exhumation may occur. So some cemeteries, they sell a grave or a plot for a set period of time. So that can be 21 years or it can be 28 years, or depending on the cemetery. At the end of that time, they may bring that coffin back up and then have the remains, whatever remains of that, cremated, and then the ashes spread. So that's one reason. Second reason is that the coroner may direct that a body is exhumed, and that might be because there's some investigations that are required. And that could be, there might have been some further circumstances or evidence come to light about a person's death, and they want to explore that further, so they may need to bring that person back. It's uncommon that happens. We have to get approval and we have to get orders from the coroner when a person's passing is coronial to make sure that we can inter that body or cremate the body with the permission of the coroner, and that would avoid the exhumation. The third reason is at the family's request. So sometimes families change their mind, families move, families go through some turmoil that means that they might need to move a loved one, or that they just might have to have that coffin brought up. So it doesn't happen that often, but it certainly does happen. And there's a lot of qualifications that occur or that you need to have for that to occur. But yeah, really, really good question. Ari, that sounds like the exact right motivation to want to be a funeral director. The idea of helping a family at the hardest time certainly is rewarding, and it's soul nourishing in a way that you probably have never experienced before until you are a funeral director. Ewan, your mum, Sonia, I imagine, if that's Ewan that I'm thinking of. Is that the right Ewan? So where else is everybody joining us from this morning? So here we're at McCartney Funerals at Underwood, which is our head office, our operations centre in Brisbane, which is great. G'day, Ewan. Say hi to your mum for me. Pretty sure I just stole that from Rove. Decline. Are we allowed to watch the start of a cremation? Yeah, absolutely. Ari, that process is called a witness insertion. So what that means is that for the first few minutes of the cremation, you get to be there to observe the coffin being put into the cremator, and you see the beginning or the commencement of the cremation. So yeah, witness insertion. Mind Marvels, hello. Have we ever experienced sudden movement or paranormal from a deceased? Yeah. I think, sometimes when you work in a funeral home, the idea that you wouldn't have some kind of paranormal experiences or encounters is probably a bit naive. I remember a couple of different circumstances or a couple of different interactions, but there's certainly been some times where, for example, the doors, open or close or rattle or shake or that kind of thing, where we might see people who aren't there. We might, have some pretty interesting interactions. Tracy's on leave, Ari, so she's on annual leave at the moment, probably running a marathon somewhere. Yeah, great question. Paranormal is always the thing that people want to know about, and I guess a lot of people believe in ghosts. And at the end of the day, we're just energy, right? So, energy is what everything is about. Energy has to go somewhere, so it's probably naive to think that it just disappears when we pass away. But yeah, good question. Okay, sorry, I'm just getting messages through while we're talking, so I'll ignore that. So, more questions. Tyler, let's try for you for another one if you wouldn't mind, unless somebody else can beat Tyler to the comment section with a question.
Okay, someone has asked on our TikTok, so their friend has been buried for 2 years. Will she now be fully decomposed? She had one of those lovely American style caskets. She keeps wondering.
Yeah, probably not. So after 2 years, 2 years is not a long time to be interred or in the ground, especially with a big Batesville coffin, which is that standard size that you might see in America. So likely she would have been embalmed if she was in America, and in a big casket. So, realistically, her decomposition is going to take a considerably longer amount of time. So, many years, in fact. So, but yeah, would not be fully decomposed. Ari, on average, how many funerals do we do per year? We look after sort of between 1,400 and 1,600-ish families every year. So that's a lot of funerals. It's a lot of people that we look after, a lot of flowers, a lot of everything really. So we look after quite a few people every year, and that's the deceased as well as their loved ones, their family. So it's not just the person who's passed away we look after. We certainly spend time looking after families too. Great question. Sorry. How would you describe the smell of a decomposed body? This is such a good question. I would say first and foremost, sorry, I've got something in my eye. I would say first and foremost, it's probably indescribable. Everybody who works here at our facility in Underwood has smelled a decomposed body before, or a body with a level of decomposition. I think it's a smell that definitely, it really just gets in your memory, and it's something you'll never forget for sure. But describing it is really difficult. I guess, like any kind of organic matter or organic material, so meat or vegetables or fruit or, any consumables that decompose or decay, they give out an aroma, which is like pheromones and, smells and those sorts of things. So the human body is no different. So as we break down, we release gases, we release fluids, a lot of natural processes occur. So they all let off different smells essentially. So depending on the stage of decomposition as well, will depend on what that smell is like. Tissue gas, for example, has a very particular smell. A person who's beyond the stages of decomposition, they give off very little smell. So whereas somebody who's right in the midst of it definitely gives a lot more of an aroma than somebody else who doesn't. So it's indescribable. The smell is definitely indescribable. It's also not unbearable. So it's something that, you can tolerate and you can sort of, be okay with. It's really common knowledge in the funeral industry that a decomposing body will release hormones in your own body that will make you feel hungry. So that sounds pretty gross, right? So the idea of a decomposing body making you feel hungry, it's gross, it is gross, but it happens. So what it does is it connects with our primal brain, and our primal brain has these pheromones sort of come into it that's coming from that person who is decomposing, and it triggers this, you know, sense that, you know, potentially that's food that we're letting go to waste, and it needs to make us hungry, so we want to eat that food before we can't anymore. So really common, embalmers, morticians, mortuary technicians will tell you that when they're looking after a decomposed body, they get pretty ravenous afterwards, a little while. So gross to think of, but yeah, it happens. Yeah, Ari, it's probably not too dissimilar. Different kind of smell, but yeah, definitely. You kind of get used to it. Good questions, everybody.
We've had an interesting question come in.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would love to hear your answer to. What is the most challenging part of your job?
The most challenging part of my job? I would say definitely the emotional toll that working in funerals takes on me and on people and our team. So we get to see a lot of either humanity at its very best, humanity at its very worst. So, that comes with a whole range of different emotions. So, being able to, I guess, process those emotions and experience that grief with family is probably the hardest part, and making sure that, we can be removed enough that it doesn't impact us long term. But yeah, that's definitely probably the most difficult part, is the emotional toll and providing support to people when, they're really going through it. So that can be pretty tough. My favorite dance move, John, I don't get the chance to dance, bro. I work like a slave, believe it or not. I'm often in the office most of the time. But dance move, I don't know. Maybe a shuffle of some sort. Can you shuffle, Tyler?
I can't shuffle.
You can't shuffle? I don't believe you. I believe that you'd be a great little shuffler. What about you, John? What's your favorite dance move? Are you going to show us? You give us a little demonstration. Ari, great question. I think, and I'm just going to pin this one because let's talk about this. So what you've asked there is, how can you stay professional when you're faced with a baby? If what you're saying there is, how do you not get emotional, or how do you not show emotions, then that's not necessarily the definition of professional. Let me just pin it. Just because we might get emotional with a family doesn't mean it's any less professional. And in fact, it's probably more connected to our families than anything. So we generally get really connected with our families, especially here at McCartney Funerals. So when we get emotional with a family, it's okay, it's acceptable. And we would never expect that our team should not be emotional if they need to be. If they need to demonstrate and show some of their own grief and their own emotion for that family, that's okay. You're right, it is tough when we're looking after children, when we're looking after babies, to not be emotional. And I guess it's something that we sort of get to, have a control of more as we work through the industry. Rooster, g'day. We were only talking about you last week. Have we seen any fake or two fake people pretending to be crying what one? No, we don't really pass that kind of judgment, John. So it's everybody grieves in a different way, and there's no right way or wrong way to grieve. So some people need to have those really loud, elaborate displays of emotion and grief, and that's okay. Rooster, Robert, how have you been, buddy? We haven't seen you in so long. We were back last week. Tyler and I were looking out for you. We didn't see you, but we've seen you today, which makes us very happy. You've always been, great supporter of ours. Yeah, the OG. Yeah. So I guess, sorry, I lost my train of thought when I saw Rooster come in. Can we see Tyler? Yeah, absolutely. Can I flip the camera around?
Should be what?
Flip camera. Oh. Hello, Tyler.
Hello, everyone.
Maybe we should ask Tyler some questions. What do you reckon?
Jeez.
I always do the questioning, but let's talk about Tyler. Hello, Tyler.
Hello.
What is your job at McCartney Funerals? What do you do?
My job, basically what I do is I just make coffee. I make coffee and eat food.
He is the barista extraordinaire. Tyler makes the best coffees in the morning.
Yeah, no, I'm a multimedia specialist, so I handle all of our social medias, and on occasion do graphic design as well, which is our multimedia, so like service stationery and things like that. But mainly my focus is on the social media. So doing the TikToks, the live streams, the posts that you see on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube, which you should subscribe to, please. That just about covers it. Just things like that.
When you were becoming a graphic designer and you were, first beginning your career, did you ever think, Tyler, that you would work in the funeral industry as a designer?
I didn't, honestly, no. That absolutely never crossed my mind. To be honest with you, I didn't even think that it was something that happened in funerals. Yeah, it never crossed my mind. But when I did see that it was, and I applied, and now that I've started doing it, I've come to really appreciate how important it is, and how much of a part it actually plays in people's experiences when it comes to services and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful to be able to create things for families that they're just so, like, it's insane how design can impact families in so many ways, and how powerful it can be when you make something so personalized for somebody, for a service. And they show lots of gratitude, and it's very meaningful. It is very important, and to be able to show people our industry on social media as well has played a big part in my job, and it's something that I really, really, really enjoy doing, and I've been very lucky to be able to do.
That's a great response, and you're exactly right. Like you especially, you get to show people a whole different side of funerals and what funerals are, what they look like, and all of that kind of stuff. So what you do is valuable. Does Tyler look like how everybody expected Tyler to look? If I want to see this in the comments. So while you're tapping furiously away at the screen, liking us, following us, checking out all our socials, all the hard work that Tyler does, I want to hear, does Tyler look how you think he would look? And if you've got any questions for Tyler, now's your chance before we flip that camera back. No, they're saying that they don't think that you looked how they thought you would look, Tyler.
No, I wonder how they thought I would look.
Maybe we won't ask that.
I thought he had
they're
short
pretty.
hair.
They can be pretty, pretty descriptive. Our followers. Everyone's always fixated with hair. What is the hair?
Yeah, they love the hair on TikToks.
Well, actually, John, when Tyler did first join us, he did have short hair. He had a shaved buzz cut. And the reason Tyler we did a video interview with Tyler before he joined us, and he had some Dharma glasses. And I had just finished watching Jeffrey Dahmer's, that documentary that was on, or the series that was on Netflix. That one. The Ryan, what's his name? Ryan Murphy one? And Tyler looked exactly like Dharma. And I was like, yeah, for sure, we got to bring the kid in. And ever since, he's been our own resident Dharma. You thought he looked something like Louis Capaldi Rooster. Wow. Yeah, okay. And to answer your question before, Tracy's well, she's on leave at the moment, so no doubt she's somewhere running a marathon, which is what she likes to do. Ari, do we have any funerals today? Yeah, we do. We have a couple on today, plus some viewings, and then plus some unattended cremations. So I think we have about either 11 or 12 people leaving us today. So yeah, definitely a busy day. For everybody else, don't forget to like and subscribe, tap that screen, follow us, and then make sure you check out our YouTube, where Tyler has got videos posted, our Facebook, our Instagram, and that's about it. So one more question. Anyone? Last question? No. Next Wednesday, get those questions ready. We'll see you at 11 o'clock Queensland time next Wednesday.
This is my family. You are my people.